Hi, everybody. Welcome to Raising Preteens Right. My name is Elisa DiCristina, MSW, Independent Educator. These are my opinions. You are entitled to yours. As always, use your discretion when watching our videos. We do speak about youth mental health. Today, we are on mini story, Attitude and Actions, Chapter 9. In this chapter, we explore why the process of learning is so important and how that ties back to your attitudes and your actions. A lot of educational systems are formed into a product-driven learning process, meaning they're concerned with the end result. There's so much information that students are required to memorize and test for that the process of learning has become diminished in terms of learning for the sake of creative learning or exploratory learning. Most classrooms are instructional type learning, where it's a one-way communication. The teacher is the sage or the master of information and the expert and is disseminating information to the student. Youth are more unfamiliar with the process of discovery and learning. It's imperative that young people have a sense of autonomy over their actions and their attitudes. Their attitudes meaning their beliefs, how they're forming them, and their actions meaning their behavior, their conduct, to empower them that they have control over their internal locus of control. That's their autonomy in shaping their self-identity and who they're becoming as they're individuating through their pre-adolescence and adolescence, regardless of what their peers are doing. That's a very empowering place to be for a young person. We want young people to use critical thinking skills and self-navigate through their discernment and what they deem as important. I call this best interest assessment, that they are assessing what's in their best interest and they have a right to act, not react, or not go along with what the influencers are doing, whether it's in real life or social media. That we're always trying to empower them that they're building their sense of self from within. It doesn't matter what's happening on someone else's page or within the popular circle of what's happening in today's modern world, that we're steering them away and empowering them from within. And that's such a good feeling of confidence to give to a young person. We ask the pre-adolescent or adolescent to explore their faith-based development in terms of how that affects their attitudes and actions. How are they staying loyal to that within their social circles and their psychological perspective? So we're always tying a biopsychosocial spiritual perspective, that holistic perspective, in terms of helping them develop a healthy sense of self. Drama tends to be very high for pre-adolescents and adolescents. Everything's blown into like a little bit of an out of proportion, right? Because their hormones, their emotions, their prefrontal lobe and the cortex is not working in full capacity. That amygdala, again, is heightening everything and the hormones are flying everywhere. So they haven't mastered that self-regulation yet, or that emotional regulation. So we speak about avoiding drama in terms of just because there's drama doesn't mean you have to get on the stage and join the performance, right? That you have a choice, again, to discern. You can take quiet time, sit back, develop those skills so that we help them master self-regulation, anxiety, depression, stress. Right at the top there for adolescent struggles, by writing this chapter and putting in proactive preventative strategies, we're decreasing levels of depression, anxiety, and stress. Equally important is tying in your belief system to your attitudes and actions. Your personal development success depends on learning skills that help you gain insight and understanding into yourself. Your self-awareness enables you to recognize your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, social interactions, and spiritual development. Once you practice identifying these aspects within yourself, you create more self-navigation opportunities. Self-navigation refers to guiding your own path and developing your individuality, which is exactly what you are in the process of doing during your preteen and teenage years. In a general sense, your attitude includes your thoughts, perspectives, feelings, and behaviors that come together to form your outlook or approach about something or someone. Putting the ownership on pre-adolescence and adolescence to develop that moral compass and public discourse. The good news is that you control your attitude and actions. There are many opportunities during your preteen and teenage years to practice self-management skills. You foster a victor mentality, not a victim mentality. It's important that adolescents know that life is not fair, and making things fair across the board is an injustice to their coping skills, their resilience skills, and their grit, and everything that's going to make them flourish with their mental wealth. Unfortunately, they have to go through some challenges to stretch that resilience like a rubber band. And they need to know that they will survive them and triumph. We talk about triumph over challenges, that they will overcome, they will transcend. Those challenges and hardships are going to make them who they are and strengthen them. Counterintuitive to some of the messages that they are learning from society, that everything's fair and that everyone gets a participation medal or trophy. Young people are very intuitive, and they understand that they need to triumph over their challenges, that despite receiving a participation award, which that may have started with very good intentions, it's undermining their self-development. We cannot keep taking away challenges from young people. It's not healthy for them. We're weakening them. That program may have started with good intention. What's important is their process of learning how to lose, learning how to overcome, learning how to develop grit, dust yourself off, get back up, and get back in the game. That's the importance, not the end result of the award or the trophy or the medal. So in that way, they're becoming proactive creators in the story that they're telling themselves. That losing is just learning. We're reframing that for them. No one wins all the time. That's irrational. That's a cognitive distortion. We want young people to understand what these terms mean, how to use them. We treated personal development as a subject. So the sooner they become familiar with these terms, the better. The closer you can teach this program to 10, 11 years old, the better. It's just like learning any other subject. It just may be unfamiliar language to them at first. This is the most important subject not taught in school. Regardless of your career choices, academic choices, future in your life, you're bringing yourself with you 24/7. The most important thing we can teach our young people is how to successfully self-navigate and create purpose and meaning in their life. For example, it is critical from a young age that you begin to believe attitude, that your inner satisfactions of your acts of kindness actions outweigh the external and temporary rewards. A participation trophy is a good example of a temporary external reward, regardless of your achievement. Your internal sense of achievement and accomplishment will far outweigh the material gain from participation awards, medals, or trophies. Your internal rewards are also spiritual, as God empowers you to live in His truth and take spiritual attitudes and actions through your faith. There is no external measurement of this result. It is a personal process. Therefore, simply by aligning yourself with God's purpose, your heart will feel content in a way that surpasses all material external rewards. Woo! Is this important? Because they are getting the complete opposite message from the world, which is diminishing their sense of self. They're so anxious about who they are, who they're becoming. They're looking around for their social media and their peers and their AI chatbots for this, when we need to teach them healthy self-navigation that's faith-based. Please visit raisingpreteensright.com and sign up for our newsletter to receive a discount on our program. Together, we will make a healthy difference. Thank you for watching.